Good morning and welcome back to the Dennis Herrera Show. Happy Monday. Welcome back, Dave. Good to see you on the chat, ready to go. I am still trying to get my chats to actually be ready so that I can interact with you guys as we watch this morning's briefing. We're going to have a live briefing here, but we're going to wait. We're going to wait for other people to join us here in a little bit. Let me get into the widescreen. There we go. Widescreen. Copy that. What else we got in here? Sandra, good morning, says. Unc Andy. Welcome back. Crazy Patriots. Back into the craziness, man. We got a good one for you today. We got a real good one for you guys today. You know, it's amazing how, the people that come in here from the left side, they're always come in, and the one thing they always say is, why don't you get a job, bro? They say, well, why don't you get a job? And it's just like, bro, this is a job. This is my job. My job is to entertain you and to bring you some different perspectives of what the news outlets out there are telling you. Yes, if you have noticed, I'm wearing my dollar earphones because I'm wearing my hat, and it's annoying that my headphones don't fit. But, Raquel, good morning. I see you. Let me get into the other version of the live stream here. Man, we got a good one. We definitely have a good one for you today, guys. Let me see. I think this bottom one here. Let's see. Hopefully this is the right one. I'll find out. Yes. Okay. Fantastic. If you guys don't know what I'm doing, all I'm doing is trying to get both of the chats lined up. I can do a multi-stream chat, where I can chat with both versions or whatnot. But I can do emojis, and I'm a very emoji guy because I'm an emotional emoji guy. You know what I'm saying? So I like to have the emojis available. I made them for a reason. And yes, I try to change them as I can. Some of them are permanent because I really love those emojis. Other emojis will be changed at my will. So just remember that. Thank you, Raquel, for those jewels. Thank you for the love and support. Brian, what's up? Good morning, big bro. Good to see you on here. Jason Martin, the general. This is Jason right here, guys. If you don't know what this emoji is, this is Jason Martin right there. Bam! Buenos dias. Good morning. Nope, Robert did not beat you here, and you did indeed beat Robert. Robert's probably taking one of those old man retired naps. If Robert gets on here, he gets to hear that. Unc Andy says, Dennis, your job is to speak the truth and bring the world back to sanity, one soul at a time. Man, that's pretty, man, that's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Man, you guys are phenomenal support. I really look forward to coming in here with you guys. The only thing that I procrastinate a lot, and it's not just procrastinating, but it's approving myself, okay? I have a hard time approving myself, and what I mean by that is it's not that I doubt myself. God has given me a lot of lessons in life to be positive and to be confident, right? Some people might think I'm arrogant. Yeah. Part of it, yeah, I am arrogant in some things, but hopefully I'm humble enough to accept my faults, and I think I do that all the time. All I can tell you is, man, do we got a good one for you today. We have a very, very good one for you today. Let me see, who else do I got in here? Let me make sure I say hello to my peeps, to all of my peeps. Let's see. There's a new guy here. Axie. Where is it? I saw it in here somewhere. G-Bro, good morning. Welcome to the Dennis Herrera Show. That's right. This is the only channel that actually acknowledges you and gives you props. Who knows? Maybe some people are copying me already. Let's see. Axios says, Dennis, big bad vatos locos forever. Tres puntos, ese. Vatos locos forever, Holmes. And yes, we have El Güero in here. So the whole gang is almost complete. Some of you guys are probably looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about? If you know what I'm talking about, you can put the name of that movie on here. Tres puntos, ese. Oh, man. Well, I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. G-Bro. Rowan, that's all peeps. What's all peeps? I don't know what that means. Unc Andy is on the landscape mode with David. David's making fun of Robert because Robert's taking too much of a nap. But you know what? Just to be fair, I'm going to text him, let him know that we're live. He could be at an appointment, at a doctor's appointment or something. Let's see. Brother, we are live. I think he called me yesterday or today. I can't remember. But I couldn't answer the phone. And just so you guys know, the phone number that I give you, if you have my personal number, that means that you are in the inner circle. If you're calling me on the other phone that I give to everybody to call in, I don't have that phone with me all the time. And most of the time, the messages will be ignored because I'm not looking at it. Sandra, good morning. Good morning again. Let's see. I think we need to join the rest of the gang. Ender, good morning. Whatever you guys like, I'll tell you what, at some point, I would rather just do the widescreen version. It seems like everybody just really is more convenient with the portrait version. Okay. Now, before we get started, I just want to say there's this big hype about Spirit Airlines going bankrupt. I've read some of the comments. The leftist media is going crazy. People are saying, are we winning yet? People are going down hardcore on the Trump's administration. And the first thing that they say is, oh my gosh, Trump did it. Gas prices are so expensive and so high and this and that. When in reality, it was the Democrats, specifically Pocahontas, who destroyed the merger between JetBlue and the Spirit Airlines. Now, to be fair, Spirit Airlines has had a rep for horrible customer service, employees fighting like ghetto. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to say it. You might not like it, but I'm going to say it. When everything is cheap and affordable, this is where the hood comes out to play. I'm just saying, listen, whether you're black, Hispanic, white, I don't care. When things get too cheap, just bad people, man, just come out and play. So my point on this is Spirit Airlines. I don't know why I keep saying American Airlines. Is Spirit Airlines dug themselves into a hole. JetBlue would have got them out. The Democrats actually burned their wings. But let's be honest. This will neither be a Democrat or a Republican problem. This will be an actual airline management problem. Too many issues unaddressed. Too much negative propaganda. Listen, I flew a Spirit airline before. Never, ever, ever, ever will I ever fly on Spirit airline. Well, now it's official because they're out of business. But that is the main reason why they went out of business. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with this. Oh, my goodness. Penguin, you guys are going to have a hard time or a good time with Penguin on the chat. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and get an update from Blanchard here and see what's going on. Now, this live happened about an hour or so ago. As you guys know, I got to go take my wife and this and that to work, take the kids to school, etc., etc., and then I have to get ready for this. I've been up, guys, since like 4:30 in the morning, and just been going around and doing this and that. Now, when I say that, people think that I'm over here on my computer, just going off crazy. Well, sometimes I am, but a lot of the times it's like I'm catching up on my news. You know what? I took Sunday off. I wanted to unplug from all the drama, from all the hating, from the left, and I wanted to be able to come in fresh today, Monday. And as you can see, you can tell by the way that I am today that I feel rejuvenated. And that's why it is a happy Friday. By the way, sponsors will be coming in here soon. Not yet. It's in the works. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it'll take a few months. Who knows? But I will be having sponsors for my channel. And if you know of anybody that actually wants to be a sponsor on my channel, fantastic. Let's get it on. Just remember this. If you help me, if you support me monetarily, that doesn't mean that I'm going to do what you tell me. If I agree with you, of course, we will go ahead and talk about it. But just so that you know, this is called the Dennis Herrera Show. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to give you my point of view. And I want to show people this is who I am. This is what I always been. This is what I always will be. So it doesn't matter how much money people give me. My opinions are still going to be very hard no matter what side of the aisle we're looking at. Okay? So don't think that because somebody gives me money that they can buy my opinion, because I don't play that. As a matter of fact, I think that's very disrespectful, and that brings a lot of shame, and I don't appreciate that. So just so you know, if I do have sponsors in the near future, one of the things that you will know is I will not accept a sponsor of a product or any organization that I don't believe in. Period. I don't care how much money it is. If I don't believe in the product, I will never take that sponsor. Of course, money talks, and that is a big saying in the world. But sometimes money doesn't talk. Money screams and stinks and reeks. So you gotta understand that from me, and I hope that everybody is actually on the same page with me. I am sure that if I give you money, you're not going to just say what I want you to say. I still expect you to be honest with your opinions. Now, with that being said, I still have to do a couple of things here in the background. We're going to go ahead and get on with this live. Okay, let's get started with this live, and then we got some good things to talk about. We already knocked off the Spirit Airlines. If you have questions about that, we can talk about it. But Spirit Airlines going bankrupt, no longer in business, that is 100% their fault, my opinion. Let's see what's going on here.
All right, good morning, everybody. Today we are here to talk about our progress here at the Justice Department to hold meat packers accountable. As you all know, last November, the President tasked the department to investigate the costs and prices of beef. As a result, we prioritized investigating potential antitrust violations in U.S. cattle and beef markets. In the beef industry, the big four processors control over 85% of the beef processing market. Two of the big four are primarily foreign-owned. Multiple plant closures across the country, the current market structure, and high concentration in the industry indicate anti-competitive activity. Since the President's executive order, the department has been actively investigating with a review of over 3 million documents. Hundreds of industry participants, including ranchers, cattlemen, producers, and processors, have been contacted and many interviewed as part of this ongoing investigation. More broadly, the department has also executed on the President's executive order to stop anti-competitive behavior in the broader food supply market. Later this week, we will be announcing an historic settlement that will directly affect the prices of proteins like chicken, pork, and turkey. This business model allows competitors to exchange competitively sensitive information on every aspect of the protein industry and has raised the prices on chicken, raised the prices on pork, and raised the prices on turkey. The department is also working closely with Secretary Rollins and the Department of Agriculture. We've signed a memorandum of understanding that allows us to share information aimed at protecting competition in agricultural inputs like seeds and fertilizer. But there is more work to do, and we need your help. I want to remind everyone and anyone in the industry that if you have information about antitrust crimes, about price fixing, bid rigging, market allocation, or even procurement fraud, the Department of Justice wants to hear from you. Through our Whistleblower Rewards program, which is we do in partnership with the United States Postal Inspection Service, you can be financially rewarded for coming forward with information about this behavior. Just to put a fine point on it, if the information you provide helps us secure a criminal penalty in excess of $1 million, you can be entitled to recover and receive 15 to 30% of the money that we recover. So whether you're a farmer, a purchaser, a processor, you can help protect food security in America by reporting these types of violations and potentially criminal conduct. We will use every law enforcement tool available to help reduce food prices and vigorously enforce the antitrust laws to ensure every aspect of the agricultural industry competes on a fair playing field. Now I would like to introduce our great Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary Brooke Rollins.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and a very hearty and vigorous thank you to our Acting Attorney General. He's only been on the job for, I think, a couple of weeks at this point, and the moment I called and asked for his time and his focus and his team's effort on this issue facing our country, without hesitation, Todd, you said we're all in at the Department of Justice. And so here we are today and just couldn't be more grateful. I've got a couple of larger comments to put this in context. Then I know my great partner, Director Peter Navarro from the White House, we've worked together a long time, has some thoughts. And then really the stars of the show are our ranchers who are here from Colorado, from Texas, from the West, from Idaho, and they'll have a couple of thoughts too. And then I think we'll take a couple questions at the end. Again, what an honor it is to be here alongside Attorney General Blanche. Thank you for your strong leadership, and of course the incredible Peter Navarro, our Director of Trade and Manufacturing Policy, also joined by several members of the ranching community. Todd, Peter, and I each serve the American public in different capacities across the executive branch at the pleasure of our boss, President Donald Trump. But we are united by a single mission: to protect our great American farmers and ranchers, the American way of life, and the American consumer. President Trump has been the greatest champion in American history for our farmers and ranchers, from record-breaking investments in rural America through the Working Families Tax Cuts to opening up the global market, now 18 new trade deals for our incredible American ag products, and to most recently implementing a plan to fortify the American beef industry. And these efforts couldn't be more timely for America's ranchers, who are seeing a historic low herd size. This morning, I'll talk a little bit about and summarize that herd size crisis facing our ranchers, but how the ongoing investigation into our Big Four packers, what that means for the larger policy context, and certainly what it means for national security. Let's begin with the herd size. As of January 1st of this year, we have about 86.2 million head of cattle and calves in America. That is the lowest since the 1950s, and this year we're looking to be slightly down again. In the past decade alone, we've lost over 17% of our cattle ranchers. More than 100,000 ranches across this country are no more. The low herd size inherited by the Trump administration can be attributed to a variety of factors. The biggest one, at least from our perspective, is the radical left's ongoing assault against ranching as a way of life. For years, they used climate alarmism to wage a war on cattle in America. And when you pair that with droughts, wildfire, overregulation from previous administrations, and volatile markets, this is how we have ended up here today. Growing the herd size is an immediate problem in need of solutions, and we've already begun implementing across the government and into the states how we're going to solve for that. And we'll talk more about that as we move through the week. But already on the grazing allotments, we've opened up millions of acres in the West. We unveiled our new product of the USA, which is catching like fire across the country in a good way, labeling meat and poultry and egg products as the actually born, raised, harvested, and processed in America, which is a new rule. Expanding the grading pilot program to include 88 facilities in 32 states. That's smaller processors. Reducing holiday and overtime inspection fees for small processors. Of course, encouraging our child nutrition programs. You all have heard me say over and over, USDA spends $400 million every day on 16 nutrition programs, incentivizing those programs to purchase locally grown, processed, harvested beef. And then, of course, Bobby Kennedy and I with our new dietary guidelines, underscoring the importance of meat, among other actions, in eating real food. So we are making big change to keep incentivizing the growth of our cattle herd and to get out of this current situation we're in. However, and this is the second part of what I want to talk about today, the consolidation in U.S. meatpacking has led to just 4 meat packers: JBS, a Brazilian-owned company, Cargill, Tyson Foods, and National Beef, another Brazilian company. Those 4 companies monopolize about 85% of the U.S. processing market today. But it hasn't always been that way. The rate of this 4-firm control has accelerated since the 1970s. According to USDA data, concentration for cattle slaughter of these 4 was only 25% in 1977 and jumped to 71% by 1992. As mentioned today, it is an astounding 85%. Notably, these 4 firms now own together more than 70 subsidiary companies today. They don't own them together, but in total, there are 70 subsidiary companies that are owned by these 4. This has led to a frightening landscape for cattle ranchers. Industry consolidation reduces options for our ranchers looking to sell their cattle. It weakens their negotiating power, and it risks reliance upon a single buyer. Today, the concentration of larger plants opens the door to tighter coordination by the Big 4 with producers, and perhaps the exertion of control over them as well, given they have limited options to sell their cattle. As ranchers face fewer options for selling their animals, the Big 4 grow stronger and stronger. These companies now have an unprecedented ability to wield market power and influence prices paid for cattle, definitely more so than if we had greater competition. On top of that, half of these meatpacking giants, including the largest meat packer in the world, are either foreign-owned or have significant foreign ownership and control, making them a threat not just to our cattle producers, but a threat to America itself. And as time has gone on, it becomes more and more clear that food security is truly national security. One Brazilian-owned company holds roughly a quarter of the market and has a documented history of international corruption and illicit activity. The brutal reality is that such foreign ownership of meat packers has been affiliated not just with corruption, but also cartels and, as recent as last week, slave labor, which is bad enough on its own, but it's also to the detriment of America's great independent ranchers and consumers. Further, when just 4 firms control a market, suppliers and food prices are rocked heavily when disruptions occur. The last few years have proven that the protein sector, especially, and therefore our food security, is especially at risk when global pandemics, animal disease outbreaks, and facility issues like fires, labor disputes, foodborne illnesses, and cybersecurity attacks occur. As an example, in 2019, a fire at a Tyson slaughter plant in Kansas resulted in a 27% drop in cattle traded on the market just that following week. And in 2021, a cyber attack on JBS plants in the U.S. caused ripple effects and delayed production. President Trump is acutely aware of these challenges, as evidenced by his Truth Social directive last November, directing the Department of Justice to investigate the Big Four meatpackers for potential collusion and price manipulation. Ensuring these practices do not happen will protect both producers and consumers. This also builds on our September 2025 Memorandum of Understanding with the Department of Justice Antitrust Division to identify anti-competitive behaviors with respect to agricultural inputs, as such consolidation isn't just limited to meat packing, even though that's what we're talking about today. But whether it's seeds and fertilizer and other inputs, the consolidation of agriculture in America has continued unabated for decades, and it is now time to take a very hard look and begin onshoring and reshoring, as the president has so eloquently stated, so much of what we do and produce in America. Just last week, a lot of you were at our press conference on fertilizer, where we certainly underscored the need to do that. The health and diversification of all of these communities, including the packing community, is vital to our long-term national security agenda. More U.S.-owned packers in more American regions of the country provides more opportunities for our ranchers and stronger food security for our country. This strengthens ranchers' ability to market their cattle in a way that makes the most business sense to them. When small and mid-sized processors around the country succeed, the communities they serve and the ranchers they support will also succeed. In closing, I want to reiterate that these efforts are part of the Trump administration's larger plan to make America great again and making agriculture great again. When small and medium-sized packers have a chance to compete and thrive, the cattle herd regains its former strength, and Americans across the country will gain. God bless our great farmers, our ranchers, our producers. God bless our incredible boss, President Trump, who's willing to bust the status quo whenever he believes it's the right thing to do for our country. And certainly there's been no greater partner alongside that effort than Peter Navarro, Director Navarro.
That's the egg price slayer right there. She did some of the most amazing work making sure that egg prices came down quickly, and she's on the case. If she's on the case, then things are going to be happening that are good. And General Blanche, thanks so much for hosting this. Just within a few short weeks, the General Blanche has been here. We've seen a significant uptick across Justice Department, but particularly in the antitrust agency. There's a guy in back. We don't need to name him necessarily, but he's really taken no prisoners, and that's what today is about. At the White House, there is no more important war on the economic front than the war on inflation, or what the Democrats use as a buzzword, affordability. The irony, of course, there is that much of the inflation that we inherited originated from actions like them. One of the biggest problems we have is inflation in beef. And one of the reasons has to do with just the way nature has been for the last decade or more. Drought has been a very big problem. There's not much we up here can do about that. But there are policies, for example, the withholding by the Biden vegans of literally millions of acres of grazing land. And we are swiftly moving that back in to help lower costs. But the biggest thing, in my judgment, that we're suffering from, particularly in the beef market, but also General Blanche mentioned chicken and turkey and pork, is industry concentration. Both General Blanche and Secretary Rollins have alluded to this 85% control. I'll give you the nerd view as an economist who was in antitrust for a while. There's this thing that the four firms is a magic number. It's the four-firm concentration ratio that's been enshrined in Justice Department doctrine for decades. And it basically says when you approach even something like 60%, you invite collusion, either explicit or tacit. And that's not only the problem we have here, it's that half of the 4 are Brazilian. Half of the 4 are Brazilian. And in my tariff world, I remember vividly just recently when the president put tariffs on Brazil because of actions they were taking which were harmful to the American people. What happened? The beef lobby, represented by the Brazilians, quietly threatened the White House. And we saw beef that should otherwise be on the counters sold in American grocery stores going where? China. So it's not just price gouging and price fixing we have to worry about. It's also the influence of foreigners on our supply chain and the national security issues that are associated with that. We cannot tolerate that. And so General Blanche alluded to a settlement coming up this week. I can tell you that there's supposed to be a trial in Minnesota this week. It's a company called AgriStats. What is AgriStats? This is like the mathematician's worst nightmare in terms of monopoly behavior. Basically, what the companies in this concentrated industry were doing was individually sending in data on everything, consumers, production, everything in between. And what did that computer do? It spit back what the monopoly price should be. Justice Department said, no more, no mas. That's not going to happen on our watch. And that case, I believe, is going to be settled well or at trial in a way which not only will take care of that problem, but implicates some of the bad actions that we've seen by the 2 American companies, Tyson's and Cargill, and JBS on the Brazilian side, along with National Beef. Although I hasten to add here that the Brazilians are far more of the problem. And it's complicated by the fact that the Brazilians, particularly JBS, hands out millions of dollars to our American political system like it's candy. And the rate of return they get on that would make a Wall Street hedge fund blush. And we got to put a stop to that. And you're going to hear from the ranchers at the front lines what they've suffered. I can tell you that a small herd and a high concentration ratio are a recipe for exactly the kind of beef inflation we get getting. The last thing I want to mention, General Blanche alluded to the whistleblower program. He's really understating one of the great things justice is doing. This is a big deal. The first award that was given to an insider was $1 million for blowing the whistle on some kind of used car scheme, okay? Think about that. And here's the reason why the whistleblower program is so important. It's because those are the folks who actually know where the bodies are buried, where the prices are fixed, where the shutdown of a meat packing house was really not because there was an electrical problem, it was something else. So I welcome my friends with the hats. I think that's a giveaway that they might be the ranchers in the room. And again, I want to thank you both for just kicking butt here. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hope your day's going well. My name is Shad Sullivan, and I am an American cattle rancher. My family and I derive 100% of our income from the beef and cattle industry. First of all, I'd like to thank Jesus Christ for his favor on this nation for 250 years. America 250. Let's go. I'd also like to thank President Trump and his administration, including the Department of Justice, USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins, for fighting on behalf of the American people and returning to the founding principles to defend liberty and freedom. For too long, farmers, ranchers, and American consumers have suffered at the hands of consolidated power. Just in the last generation, we have lost 665,000 beef cattle in operations, which is 50% down from 1980. We have also lost 86,000 farmer feeders, which is 1,000 head and below. This has been driven by years of mergers and acquisitions of multinational corporations and foreign meat conglomerates. That has created a level of economic and political power that too often escapes oversight and accountability. As a result, unrestrained market control by these powerful corporations has increased input costs for producers, decreased profitability, and forced many to become price takers. While at the same time, this market control drives up costs for consumers. President Trump's recognition that this level of concentration has possibly led to market control and manipulation, political leverage, and vulnerabilities in our supply chains and food security is crucial to upholding our sovereignty and safety in this nation. Restoring a fair marketplace, rebuilding a resilient American food system, and protecting the food security of this nation are critical in securing an integral marketplace that strengthens rural America, supports local economies, and ensures consumer affordability. Today signals that these concentrations concerns are being taken seriously. We respect the process, and we applaud the Trump administration for taking steps forward to restore a fair and competitive marketplace for American producers and consumers. I will reiterate that food security is national security, and I submit to you today, where there is beef, there is freedom. May God bless America, and thank you very much.
Well said. Shad is a fifth-generation rancher with ranches in Colorado and Texas. Hayden, I said Idaho. Did I get that right? Utah and Arizona. I was worried I'd missed the state. Utah, Arizona, sixth generation. And then the incredible Campbells right here, fifth generation Colorado ranchers too. They represent tens of thousands of some of our greatest Americans across this country. And we're just so proud to represent you and hopefully make some good change for you all moving forward. With that, we'll take questions, hopefully on topic, but yes, go ahead. If you'll introduce yourself as well.
Nyland from Bloomberg. So the Justice Department had opened a meatpacking investigation in 2020 and closed it last year. Can you tell us what is different about this investigation into meatpacking?
We open and close investigations regularly. I think that circumstances change, whether it's circumstances within the Department of Justice and priorities that we have, but also within the industry. And you just heard a lot of facts and numbers and data and statistics that explain why we're doing our investigation now, why we started it last year. And these investigations, at the risk of saying the obvious, are difficult. They take time. They take a lot of data processing of information provided by the industry, by everybody up and down the chain, and then also meetings and talking to witnesses. So I'm not going to explain or justify why a different administration shut down a different investigation, but this investigation, like we talked about, is being done, I assure you, for the right reasons, given not only what President Trump directed in the executive order, but the reality of the industry right now.
I can tell you the big difference is velocity, intent, and actual action. And you're going to see in this settlement that it is going to unleash a set of forces that are going to ripple through this industry rapidly and in a way which is going to allow us to get to the bottom of this. So this is a new regime. This is a new form of moving, and it's at Trump speed.
And just very quickly, I will say, I think that perhaps more than ever before in American history, we now realize the threat to our sovereignty, to our freedom, to our liberty as we look in total at the consolidation in America, but also perhaps the biggest priority would be the consolidation at the hands of foreign countries and foreign-owned companies. And we're not here today to talk about, for example, China owning U.S. farmland, but in 1983, China owned 2,000 acres. Today, they own almost 300,000 acres. 20 years ago, there were 40 fertilizer companies providing nitrogen fertilizer. Today, there are 3. Seeds the same. It is a national security issue, and at the same time, we're losing thousands of these producers every year. So I think when you take all of that in total, you take an extremely aggressive president who wants to stand by rural America, return prosperity to rural America, stand by his ranchers and his farmers, make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep that way of life alive and vibrant and vigorous. I think that would explain why we're doubling down today. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Dave Michaels with the Wall Street Journal. You're appealing for whistleblowers today, so are you confirming it's a criminal investigation? And then you're blaming the foreign meat packers. Are you going to focus on the foreign meat packers? How are you going to charge only foreign meat packers if you have a 4-member cartel?
I mean, I'm not going to jump to conclusions around what the results of the investigation will be. That wouldn't be fair to the folks here at the department that are working it, or to the meat packers that we're investigating. The idea of whistleblowers, of people coming forward with information they have, is one of the best and most efficient ways that we can solve antitrust violations, criminally or otherwise. And so we just want to make sure people in this industry realize that we're putting money where our mouth is. We're not asking you to come forward and then see what happens. We're saying, if you come forward and if your information results in a finding, in a conviction, and the amount of money is over $1 million, which in this industry is not a very high bar, that you stand to recover up to 30%. And so we have to incentivize people to make a very difficult choice and come forward with information if they had it. And that's what we're trying to do. But we're not standing up here announcing the results of the investigation. We're putting a finer point on what President Trump said last year in his executive order, which is this is a real problem. It's a national security problem. It's a price problem for American consumers, and it's a problem for the industry, for the hardworking ranchers that have existed for 5 generations, 6 generations in this country. So that's the reason behind what we're talking about today.
Result, but just the type of investigation. I mean,
Can you speak up?
just the type of investigation. Can you confirm it's predominantly a criminal investigation at this point?
I mean, these investigations, it depends. And so it depends. So yes, there are, in the antitrust space, the criminal part of the investigation is something that is done in almost every case in parallel with the civil investigation. The facts matter, intent matters, what we find from the bad participants, if there are bad participants, what role they had. So it's not as if, oh, this is just civil, or oh, this is just criminal. It's an investigation, and if we find evidence of criminal conduct and criminal intent, we'll go from there.
Marcia.
Hi, Marcia Brown with Politico. You've talked a lot about how this will lower prices for consumers and help American ranchers. When do you expect consumers to feel that price relief at the grocery store, and for ranchers to also experience relief from this?
So, as we've outlined, Marcia, you've heard 100 times, maybe not all the reporters in the room, being at a 75-year herd low, being at this point in the market, taken in total with, as I mentioned, the last administration moving cattle, doing everything they could to basically eviscerate the cattle industry, whether that was through grazing allotments or climate change, hoax, craziness, whatever it was. On top of that, you have the droughts. Even in Nebraska, the fire they just had was in rural Nebraska, so it didn't get as much press as a lot of these wildfires do. But it was the biggest fire in Nebraska history, the 9th largest in American history, and we're not really talking about it because it was in rural America, but what that does to those ranchers. So all of that taken in total, combined with obviously the screwworm south of the border, we've had to keep the ports closed to make sure that stays out, which, thank the Lord we've been able to, against all models showing it would be here last year. But you marry that to this effort and the long-term infrastructure that we are building in order to mitigate this sort of thing from ever happening again. Marcia, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could tell you, we do believe that prices are going to start coming down this summer based on opening up the allotments, putting more money into mid-size and smaller processors, incentivizing our ranchers and, instead of slaughtering to keep their heifers, et cetera. I'm getting way into ag stuff now, but we are hopeful that those prices will start coming down this summer, this fall. But again, this is a massive, complicated policy challenge that we're working to fight every single day and solve for. So thank you. Yes, ma'am. And then we'll go to you in the front.
Hi, Kushita Vasan from MLEX. Could you talk about how close you are to filing a lawsuit, and have the companies been cooperating? Have you seen delay tactics? Have they been destroying documents?
So I'm not going to talk about timing because I don't have an answer. If I had an answer, I would share it with you. But just to understand that there is a lot of work that's been done and there's a lot of work to do, and we are moving as quickly as we can. And I think that you've seen antitrust investigations in the past last more than one administration sometimes, and so go on for years and years and years and years. And there's things that we can do in the department to make sure that doesn't happen here, whether it's just making sure that subpoenas are responded to on time, making sure that we have the resources that are devoted to these investigations that should be. So I will tell you we're doing that. So we are. This is a priority. It has been a priority, but we're not in a position where I can say, hold your breath. It's coming forward. But that's not to say that we're in it for the very long haul. We're not.
These companies are foreign owned, there's a risk that they might be destroying documents or not playing ball. Have you seen any delay tactics, or have they been just, not turning in documents on time?
The nature of this investigation would not allow me to talk about what we've learned in that space. So if there's a time when it's appropriate to bring charges, or if there's a time when it's appropriate to make an announcement about not bringing charges or what we're doing, we'll do that. But it's these investigations, and you can look back over history and see the meaningful antitrust investigations that have been very successful to the American consumer and the American businessman. They do take time, and it's not the kind of thing where we can provide updates along the way that will satisfy the folks that are saying, hey, President Trump issued that executive order last year. And that's one of the reasons why we thought it was appropriate to be here today, to make sure that everybody knows that this is something that we're working very hard on. Unfortunately, I can't accompany that with details about the investigation beyond what we've already said.
Yes.
Let's remember that meat is also chicken, pork, turkey. There's also fish as a protein. And when you do things like General Blanche and Secretary Rollins are doing in this space, these folks are now aware, and they're going to be hypersensitive to any kind of things that they might pull. So you might expect at the margin, beef's the hardest because of the conditions, but across the meat and other issues of the ag sector, they're going to start behaving better. That's not going to forgive what they've done in the past, but these kind of actions create benefits in and of themselves as the investigation goes forward.
Thank you. We'll do one more. Yes, sir.
Yes. Jerry Hagstrom from the Hagstrom Report. Is your goal to get these companies to break up to create more companies? And do you want the Brazilians to sell their interests to Americans?
I think, Jerry, the goal is to preserve a way of life of rural America, to ensure that our food security is absolute, that the importance of being able to feed ourselves in this country and not to rely on other countries is, again, it's absolute. And back to our founder's vision 250 years ago, and that this president, I believe, has revivified in such an incredibly remarkable way, is putting America first. And what that means is putting all of it first, but from my lane, making sure that we can feed and fuel and clothe ourselves. And these other countries are playing the long game. They've got a 100-year plan. And, you know, we're arguing, until this president, we're arguing over who should go in what bathroom, and certain, you know, things that in the long run don't necessarily solidify America and our national security. And so that's how important this is. I don't want to answer those questions specifically, because that's the importance of this investigation, to fully understand what we're facing, what it looks like, and what we need to do to ensure that our ranchers and our farmers and our agricultural community have everything they need, and that we also are able to reverse this trajectory of smaller and smaller producers in the country. I think that the MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again movement, is such a big part of this, as Americans begin to understand the importance of eating real food. Of course, the real winners in that are all Americans as we move back towards a healthier population, but also the other winners are our farmers and ranchers, who will be the ones providing the real food. And let me just finish with this. I was on a call on this issue about a month ago. It was with some smaller meat processors in North Dakota. And one of them, and very small, one of them said, you know, for $60,000 low interest loan, I could add a grinder to my very small processing plant in rural North Dakota for $60,000, a loan from USDA. And what that would allow me to do is go from processing 1 head a week to 6. And again, processing 6 head a week is not going to feed America or feed the world, but what it will do is feed a community. And that is the goal, to get back to healthier, more locally produced food, and ensuring that it is by companies and people that have America's best interest at heart. So thank you all for being here, and I especially want to thank our Attorney General. God bless you. Thank you.
Well. Here, let me go ahead and address a couple of things over here. Now, one of the things that I will tell you is this. Now, I'm in Washington State, and this was considered to be a farm state. Let me tell you what the problem is. Now, I know that prices went up with tariffs. It is obvious that some prices will be altered because of the tariffs. I'm aware of that. I am 100% pro-tariffs. One of the biggest arguments that I make when it comes to tariffs, and this is just we've only been in office for a year and 4 and 5 months, okay? So it has taken decades for the Democrats and some rhinos to get rid of our manufacturing, to get rid of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of jobs. It has taken a lot of years destroying the United States of America. Many of you don't understand that because you don't feel the pressure yet. Many already feel the pressure. But here's the key. You have to understand why we have pressure. Gas prices are up. Absolutely. I will get to it. And I hope that you stick around so that you can listen to the truth instead of just coming in, dropping in some negative comments, and then walking away and going somewhere else, being a locust, just going around destroying farms and then moving on to the next one. Let me tell you something. When the tariffs were put in place, why was I 100% on board? And why am I still 100% on board with tariffs? Listen, any amount of money that is mentioned, good morning, Scott. Good morning, Chronos. Any amount of money that is mentioned being spent on the war, on these ships, on building more, securing more, paying more, all those things they're eligible questions. You should be able to question that. But once you find the truth, though, you have to accept it and be like, hey, what else can I do to help my country continue to be better? right? So here we go. Why was I okay with tariffs? Why did I support tariffs? You know, it's beyond me why some people's brains think this way. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't see how anybody on their right mind, it's okay with losing trillions of dollars. Not 100 million, not billion, trillions of dollars. But the thing that gets to me, man, I love this. The thing that gets to me is that the socialist Democrats, liberals, and all these people that have a woman's mentality, no offense to women, but when I say women's mentalities, you're a leftist. You automatically think on the left. It's that you guys blame Trump. Oh, what did he do with $18 trillion? Like you want to blame President Trump for everything. For everything. Even for your dumb mistakes in life. But nobody ever said, where is the $26 trillion? $26 trillion unaccounted for before Trump. Nobody says a peep. And that's okay. But here is the point. You blame President Trump for $18 trillion. He has made our military better. He has supported our defense, which is the reason why many of you today get to enjoy your freedom. And you don't even know why. You just get up in the morning, drag yourself into the shower, wake up with the water, go and get your nice little frappuccino mocha and all this other flavored coffee and all these things and that. And you get on your little Tesla, your electrical vehicle, take a sip of your coffee and drive around with the sunglasses down in California with the sunroof up and enjoying the beautiful weather, stuck in traffic for 2 hours. And you're thinking, what a wonderful life I have. I don't have to be at work because I already have enough money. And you can go in about your day and think, what kind of girl am I going to screw this weekend? You can go and say, man, how many beers can I buy tonight? You can go around your life and think about everything that is sinful, lustful, just ridiculous. Maybe you are celebrating something. Maybe you're enjoying your life. The point is, you don't think on a daily basis about how privileged you are. Every single day I get up and I am just so thankful to God. You know, I sit there while I am in the shower and, just rubbing my hair. And I'm like, dang it. I said, God, why do I have these thoughts? I said, I am so sorry. Please help me. I don't want to have these negative thoughts. I want to be able to love my neighbor. And I go through this. Nobody tells me, hey, you should repent from your sin. Nobody has to tell me jack squat. I automatically have that conviction because I believe in God. But here is the problem. I want to let's go back. I want to get back to the tariffs. We have been, again, let me just my brain is all over the place. I want you to, I'm going to try to calm my ADD down, okay? There is a lot of weaving that I do. I love President Trump. The weave, you know what I'm saying? The weave. You know what? Let me say this. Okay, so we have lost $26 trillion unaccounted for before Trump. We have spent $18 trillion with Trump, Biden's administration, and with Trump again. Now, every bill that we have seen go to the floor, they want to have hundreds of billions of dollars for democratic socialist programs, specifically those who are for illegal immigrants. They don't necessarily benefit the American people. That's just one observation. But here's the thing. You blamed Trump for $18 trillion. We're at $40 trillion in deficit right now. Okay, I get it. What are we going to do to fix it? Well, here's the Democratic Party idea. Hey, how about we sue President Trump and get him to pay back those tariffs that we have collected for the country? Let me tell you, number one, these big corporations, big businesses, okay, that have been taking advantage of the government, of our country, not the government, our country. They are out there getting their money, but they spend all this time during tariffs time taking that price on you and me, the consumers. We don't get that money back. We just get to hear, here's a finger, shove it up there and pay the tariffs. Because when tariffs are put on, the consumer pays for the tariffs. Now, we've been screwed over many times. But they're getting $166 billion. They sued us. Not the government. They sued us. It's our tax-paying money. $166 billion. I'm going to say it again. I am 100% for tariffs. Now, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. The truth is the truth. And I'm going to say, before President Trump came in here and put tariffs on, most of the libtards don't pay attention. But we were losing hundreds of billions of dollars. Let me say it again. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars. And all of the leftists, not one peep, and say, damn it, what are we doing? Why is the country losing so much money in trade? Not one socialist Democrat worried or gave a damn when the United States of America was losing hundreds of billions of dollars. Let me tell you something. The hypocrisy of your stupid ass socialist Democrats. They get pissed off when the President Trump puts a temporary tariff, a tax as they want to call it now, a temporary tax. But they don't say nothing except celebrate when their socialist Democrat government adds and puts up higher permanent taxes and garnishments from their hard-working earned money. They're just celebrating. SoCal is one of the guys that celebrates this nonsense from the socialist Democrats. Oh, we're the largest economy. And I go and pull the facts. The biggest poverty, the highest poverty level in California. Nobody answers that question. They like to ignore the question. But yet, here they go and say, oh my God, well, most of the Republican states are poor. Yeah? Go find out what they have. Big-ass houses. And they own them. The government might not be making that much money as an economy, but the people are taken care of. Let's not forget that a lot of these red states have a lot of cities, big cities that are Democratic. They're blue cities. Now, let me tell you another thing. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars, and till this day, I have not heard, oh, please, the school and the healthcare is bullshit, my friend. That is just what they say to make you feel guilty and make you feel a little bit better about your latte in the morning. That ain't shit. That is not for Americans. That is not for Americans. I'm going to tell you that right now. 100% is not for Americans. You got to stop being lied to. You got to know and say, doggone it, you know what? I am sick and tired of this guy's lying to me every single day. This is why I no longer support Democrats. This has been a long time ago. This has been coming for a long time. Probably JFK. Probably. And this is before I even came to this country. Probably, whatever. But JFK, the mentality of the American citizen. He didn't think, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. As a matter of fact, he just saw himself as an American citizen. Which Democrat today tells you, hey, go depend on the government? Every Democrat tells you. Every Democrat tells you, depend on the government. Everybody says, oh, well, you guys remember the caller, right, from Saturday? If you were with me on Saturday, you remember the caller? He's like, well, the Bible says, number one, they always bitch and complain to me that we should separate church from government, and then they come and bring the Bible. That's fantastic. He says, the Bible says that we should help the poor. Yes, 100% help the poor, not sustain the poor. There's a big difference. There is a big difference. Jesus also taught, help the widows. But if the widow's young, she should go and remarry. You have to understand the culture back then was that the woman was to stay home. It was the man, the head of the house, who took all the credit. Today we give credit to our women that are behind us because they're the ones that help us not fall back. Our women today, they're right next to us. They are not beneath us and they're not above us. They're right next to us. But every household needs to have a head of house, and doggone it, in my house, I am the head of house. Democrats like to depend on the government. They want welfare. Welfare, what do we see that welfare is done for our communities? Somebody's here from Illinois. Somebody's here from Illinois. Tell me, what has welfare done for your state? Somebody's here from Chicago. Tell me, what has welfare done for Chicago? Well, I'm going to tell you what welfare has done here in Seattle. Homeless, drug addicts, irresponsible teenagers, parents who have taught their children that it's better to be on welfare than to go and work and earn a living. The mentality of the working American, the ones who were pursuing their American dream, is no longer there. Now the American dream for these guys is depend on the government. More food stamps, more cash allowance, more drugs, free paraphernalia, free condoms. Don't tell me to stop having sex and promoting these diseases. Just give me a condom. That's good enough. That's the way that the leftists think. And if you're thinking that way, it's time for you to change the way that you think. It is unbelievable to me how people are in this world. But I'm going to tell you this. Streamless is getting on the... Burning 47. All right, Burning 47. I'm going to have to make you a mod. I know. I'll make you a mod so you don't get harassed by Streamlabs. But I'm going back to tariffs because I have a problem with permanent taxes. I have a problem with property taxes. Let me tell you, Robin says that must be talking about California. Let me tell you this. What are Californians proud about? I want to understand, because it seems to me like you really are hypocrites. It seems to me like you really are hypocrites, and unfortunately, your loyalty to your party has blinded you. This is why you don't like Senator Fetterman anymore, because he's not blinded. He's a patriot. He might not be right all the time, but he is not blind. Who in their right mind says yes to property taxes, yes to luxury taxes, yes to federal taxes, yes to state taxes, yes to city taxes, yes to raising sales taxes? Who are the morons who say yes to these questions? Yes to a new business tax. Yes to a new payroll tax. Yes to an extension and addition and uprising of employment tax. Yes to senior citizens' retirement social security funds taxing. Who are the morons saying yes? Tax the shit out of me. I don't want any kings, but doggone it, at least act like a tyrant a king. Maybe for them it's actually a queen. The problem is that you are moronic, if that's a word. SoCal and friends that think like you, let me tell you why I go hardcore on you with the insults. It frustrates me. There's a little smudge in my monitor here. It frustrates me to see that there's people like you who thinks after all of the taxes that I mentioned, plus the other half that I haven't mentioned because I can't remember the names. It's just, it's crazy that you say that. And yet, you see the results of what's happening with all these taxes collected. Nothing is happening. That's the problem. Nothing is happening. I wish that all these taxes were making our housing affordable. You know what? Actually, somebody was actually honest on the Democratic Party. One of the socialist Democrats was honest with me. You know what they say? Not everybody can afford to live in paradise. That was his argument. California being expensive, nobody can afford to live in paradise. Think about that statement, and that's how stupid socialist Democrats are. If you are on that side, if right now you are supporting dumb-ass socialist Democrat, I have great news for you. You can always vote for the opposite. Free California from tyrants. Start voting for the new Republican candidates, and I got two for you. You got a Republican governor, your choice. Vote him in. Let's make a change. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we get 2, 3, 4 years. Hopefully something good happens. And then you have a Republican mayor coming through. Vote him in. Vote him in. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens to that budget that you've been paying so many taxes on, but yet you have nothing of value from all those taxes. And the only thing that you have managed and acquired has been a higher poverty level for your Californian constituents. You can argue with me on that. You can argue that your state collects so much money. Of course they're collecting so much money. They're stealing it from the hardworking people. It's not because they got a million more jobs. I mean, the economy, the manufacturers, they're thriving. Oh my God, all this business is coming in here, and we're just collecting so much taxes because these companies are creating hundreds of millions of jobs. That is not the only reason. That is not the reason why they have the largest economy. Largest economy doesn't mean shit when the people are suffering. When you allow an open border, you allow just illegal immigrants to take over. This is what gets so crazy. That people don't realize. I don't know. I really don't know what the COVID-19 shot effed them all up. Let's blame it on the COVID. Blame it on the COVID-19. I'm going to give you the benefit of doubt that your stupidity was created by COVID-19. Let me tell you something. Oh, my goodness. I know, I shouldn't care about these socialist Democrats, but they're destroying our country, so I care. Millions of illegal immigrants came into our country, thanks to the Biden administration, period. What happened? You want to complain about unemployment numbers? Yeah, unemployment by legal workers, maybe. What happens when a factory hires an illegal Mexican, Hispanic, a Honduran, whatever you want to call us? What happens when a factory hires an illegal immigrant? on a factory. Does that help the American people? No. That's one less job that an American can make. And don't give me this shit that only illegal immigrants can go scrub toilets. Don't give me that. Don't tell me that only illegal immigrants can go work in the farm. Don't tell me that only illegal immigrants can do all the jobs that nobody wants to do. Don't tell me that only illegal immigrants can actually it is true. It is true. Only illegal immigrants will take a lower wage than the minimum wage. That part, that is true. But only socialist Democrats believe on slavery. It's the bottom line. They believe on slavery. You can't sugarcoat that. So again, I am going to go back to the tariffs. So people don't say anything about $26 trillion before President Trump in office, unaccounted for. They don't know where it went. I know we're doing some missile strikes here and there. I got it. But they don't want to say where, how much. Now, they want to go on Trump 300%. Let's edit, let's audit, let's take a look, let's check, let's double check, let's triple check, let's quadruple check, let's quintuple check, let's sextuple check, let's septuple check, let's octuple, you know what I'm saying? They want to have every dollar accounted for from President Trump, but they didn't give a damn about $26 trillion before Trump. Here we go. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars. And some people, some businesses, tell me, it's a serious question. I want you to pay attention. Stop writing stupid shit on the chat. Pay attention. I want you to answer this question, and please help me understand. Maybe I'm missing something. Listen, here's the question. So we were losing hundreds of billions of dollars before the tariffs imposed by Trump, which, by the way, were reciprocal, meaning that we were tariffed before he put those tariffs, okay? Here comes the question. Pay attention. I want to know if we, our country, if we as the economy were losing hundreds of billions of dollars and some businesses were prospering. Tell me, serious question. Tell me, does that seem right to you? Honest question. Go ahead. And I know there's a delay, but honest question. We're losing hundreds of billions of dollars. We're losing hundreds of billions of dollars. Some corporations were doing great. Does that seem odd to you? Wait, let me change that. Let me see. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay, there you go. Now, while you guys answer those questions, Samuel says, why aren't the companies hiring illegals being held accountable? It's a damn good question, my friend. Why is our national debt higher than ever if he claims he was going to lower it? The debt is probably not going to lower for a while. It's going to take some years. It's going to take a long time for that debt to lower. But you have to understand, just because I know it's a deficit, and I like that you said debt, because that's kind of how I see it. Obama dropped almost 550,000 bombs between Syria and Libya. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of money. Go find out how much money that is. Now, the question, there's the question right there. We're losing hundreds of billions of dollars. Some corporations were doing great. Does that seem odd to you? Now, here's the other end of that question. President Trump puts tariffs on those who were tariffing the crap out of us, which, by the way, I want to point out that the Chinese have become very wealthy, not the people. It's like California. Now, China has become very wealthy, not the people, the government. Just like California. Largest economy in the whole United States of America, but the people live in a third world country status. Pay attention, because this is how you get twisted and fooled. China was making so much money off of us. They built a replica of Paris, and nobody lives there. They built a replica of the Germantown, and nobody lives there. They have these massive buildings and projects that cost trillions of dollars and altogether. All with America money. All with your money. California, bro. Don't tell me, bro. South Central, Fullerton, Anaheim is going down the drain. Please, all the areas that used to be okay are now worse than Compton. Just because you live in a nice area. See, this is the problem. And this is the reason why I like the mayor that is running in California. He says, look, this is what the mayor lives. This is what so-and-so lives, $3 million houses. This is where I live. And he shows a trailer. That's where he lives. And he sees the homeless on the street. The guy knows what he's talking about. SoCal, you just said it. You said Anaheim is nice? Are you freaking kidding me, bro? Crime is hella up in Anaheim. Fullerton used to be a quiet town, bro. I saw people dead on the street, shot on the head. They were making Fullerton and Anaheim el barrio. I don't think you know what that is. I don't think you know what that is. So you live in your little property by the beach, zipping on pina coladas and whatever the hell you do, while the poor people are suffering. How is it you have the largest economy but the biggest poverty level? Answer that to me. Answer it to me. You can go on stats all you want, but I go on personal experience. Stats, it's a guideline that I can follow, and try to compare. But your personal life, your personal experience, it speaks louder than the actual numbers that they put on TV. That's crazy, right? You were just there. This guy. Okay. All right, here we go. Hold on, man. Anaheim, California has an overall crime rate roughly 11% higher than the California average and 22% higher than the national average, resulting in a D+ crime rating. Good job, SoCal. I am sure that you are full of facts, and what you say is obviously the truth, and what I say, well, it's just nothing. Just because you are in a safer neighborhood and once in a while you go visit, you don't know jack squat about that city. I can tell you right now, I remember Anaheim. There was a lot of Hispanics. Yeah, that's fine. But now, California looks like Mexico. And not the good part of Mexico. It looks like the ghetto Mexico. Homeless have multiplied by the thousands. And yet, all the taxes taken away from the people have done nothing to fix that problem. Bruh, listen, I know where your brain is. You are a loyalist. You are a loyalist. You're not an American patriot. You probably have more ties to China than you do America or Africa. But I'm going to tell you, that shit don't fly with me. That shit don't fly with me. I'm an American citizen by the grace of God, and thank you to the government for allowing me to become an American citizen. But I can tell you, I know what a third world country looks like. I come from one, and that's exactly what California looks like, and specifically Southern California. Ah, man, I love it when I'm right. I'm always right. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm always right. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know why. Anywho, so now we have tariffs. No longer are we losing hundreds of billions of dollars. And China got pissed. And for some reason, the socialist Democrats, oh my God, what the hell is President Trump doing? He is putting an unconstitutional tax. Shut the hell up. What the hell do you know about the Constitution, which you have been raping every day? You have been destroying the rights of the American people, and you dare to say that President Trump is doing unconstitutional things. You, socialist Democrats, are doing unconstitutional things. And later. And we, the American people, we want the United States of America to have a fair trading. China fought us, and they told us that we should be afraid, and they fear-mongered us, and the socialist Democrats and the leftist media kept talking about, oh my God, the Great Recession is coming. 30 years, a doctorate in economics comes onto my channel and tells me, you are wrong for supporting tariffs. And I said, how is that, Mr. Professional Economist? He's like, oh, this is going to bring the Great Depression back to the States. And I said, shut the hell up. I don't need a degree to tell me that this is the right thing to do. You know why? Because they're reciprocal tariffs. They have been tariffing us up the yin-yang, and I have seen the economy of China. We are 1/3 of the market of the world. My gosh, people, common sense. You gotta understand. Listen, if you don't like my screaming, turn the damn volume down. Turn it down for what? Oh, man. If you think I'm screaming too loud, turn the damn volume down. Here, I'll help you out. I'll turn it down a little bit. All right, I'll turn it down a little bit. Listen, I just get excited, man. You don't take my excitement away. What's wrong with you? Welcome to the Dennis Herrera Show, baby. Well, we keep it real. China says, oh my gosh, they are taking our money. And I said, no, we're taking our money back, which is a difference. I am nobody's fool. And as an American citizen, I said it on my introductory video, all I bring is my loyalty to the United States of America. And I will speak the truth. And I will respect and defend this country for as long as I live. However long God allows me to live. But the facts are the facts. China, the people, millions of Chinese people were complaining. Jason Martin, listen, once I get my sponsors, Once I get my regular funding monthly, it will be unfiltered. 100%. Right now, I'm still kind of watching it. But listen, the truth is the truth. Millions of Chinese people were complaining. Now, you don't know about this probably. Many were in prison, killed, silenced. How many news do you see on the legacy media from China? From protesters? They're out there killing Christians. Chinese people turning Christians are being killed or put in jail. And they get put in jail and they harvest this. Oh, I'm not even going to go there. We're not going to go in there with the organs and all these other stuffs going on. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. If you want to be lied to, that's on you, okay? If you are in my channel, I hope that you gather some information. Go fact check everything I say. Go for it. Go fact check it. But I'm going to tell you, this narrow, close-minded, if you have chosen, notice how I don't mention Republicans. And that's because I'm not a Republican. People don't understand that. The reason why I don't mention Republicans is because Republicans have the right policies. Now, there's a lot of rhinos. We know that there is actually Democrats who run as Republicans. And they cheat on the elections by doing that. Because those who are Republicans that are sick and tired of Democrats, well, they vote Republican because they're sick and tired of Democrats. And what do when they become in power? Boom, they flip. You can say, oh my God, the Republicans have the majority of the seats. Well, that's bullshit because we don't. We don't. What do Democrats believe? Democrats believe that we should have open borders. First of all, SoCal, go ahead and lay down what policies do we have from the Democrats. As a matter of fact, you know what I like to do? I like to look it up. And why don't we read it together? There's probably policies that I haven't even read to you, but let's look for it. Let's see, President Trump's policies. Let's do Trump's policies. Let's see, Trump's policies list for 2026. Let's take a look. Oh, look, it says President Donald Trump doesn't have any policies. Is that right? Let's see, tariffs increase prices on the people. Shut the hell up. It's like if I just talked to my ass, like I seriously just talked to my ass and the ass just went, that's you, SoCal. What the hell am I explaining things if you're not going to pay attention? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like I'm talking to my ass. I really am talking to my ass. I don't get these people, man. There is a page. Where is the page here? Let me see. I don't want that. I don't want that. Hold on. Let me find it here real quick. You're a jackass. Yeah, I know. That's why you're a Democrat. You're a jackass. Just, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Okay, let's read a couple of them. Here we go. Now, I don't know why the socialist Democrats don't think that securing the border is a policy. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, let's take a listen and see regulatory and execution actions. Foreign policy focus on sanctions. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's read a couple of these together so that you can shut the hell up. All All right, here we go. All right. Let's see. Key policy areas and actions from 2025, as you look in right down here. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and read the actual overview from AI. As of early 2026, the Trump administration, begun actually in January of 2025, is prioritizing strict border enforcement. Energy independence through increased fossil fuel production policies and significant deregulation, including AI and federal worker classifications. Key policies include tariffs on imports. Bing! I support it 100%. Reversing previous environmental regulations. Bing! I support that 100%. And restricting immigration via increased detention and remain in Mexico policies. Bing! I support that 100%. Any questions so far? My socialist leftist libtards. You with me? Again, there's good news. You don't have to stay a leftist libtard. You can always change your mind. It's never too late. And here's the thing. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't got to tell anybody. You just change and pretend like you've always been on our side. Don't worry about it. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Compa, ¿qué pasa? Arriba, Dennis, you look like mis primos from Durango, Mexico. Cool hat y arriba Trump 2028. Let's go. Ahua! Don't make me do my Mexican scream, bro. Don't make me do my Mexican scream. That is just part of it. I'm trying to keep it down so the mic doesn't go too high. Here we go. Key policy areas and actions. Immigration and border security. Oh my God, that's not a policy, Dennis. That's not a policy. Oh my God. Some idiot told me that on Saturday on a call that on my live. Unbelievable. Energy and environment. Pursuing an Unleash American Energy agenda, which includes rolling back environmental regulations, fostering fossil fuel infrastructure, absolutely pipeline permits, etc., and promoting energy efficiency deregulation. Policies that I support. AI issue executive orders to ensure a national framework for AI while simultaneously seeking to limit woke AI federal agencies. Establish the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Created Schedule G for federal employees aimed at reclassifying civil servants. Designated fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. I support it. Bing! Absolutely. Man, any other questions? Any questions? We also added another policy that we like. No man on women's sports. Man, I love it when I'm right. Now you can tell me. Go ahead and put on the chat, my little socialist beautiful friends. Put on the chat, what are the socialist policies? Nah, I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it. Let me make it a little bit bigger so hopefully you guys can read this. Let's take a look and see how and why you should think about who you're voting for on the midterms elections. Now, I haven't read these things, but let's read it together. Let's read it together and see. You convince me why you are voting. Let me make this bigger for the portrait mode here. Let's see. Hopefully that's big enough. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna give you guys. I'm giving the Democrats some attention. You're welcome. I'm giving Democrats some attention. Here we go. Julissa Vital, thank you for following on Instagram. Democratic policies in the United States generally focus on fostering social and economic equality through a stronger safety net. That was a lie. Progressive taxation. Yes. Take the people's money. And government intervention. Now, where have I learned that from? No. Communist? I'm crazy. What am I talking about? That's not communism. Key pillars include expanding the Affordable Health Care Act. Well. What do you think that entitles, Affordable Care Act? You know what that entitles? It entitles billions of dollars for rich corporations, and the people's tax money gets to go away. Woo! Fighting climate change. You know the problem when people don't believe in God, like the Marxist communists don't? The problem with people that don't believe in God is that they think they are God. They think they are God. They think that we can reverse climate change. No, we can't. It advocates for a progressive tax systems. Jesus. Lord, save us from this evil, ignorant people. It advocates for a progressive tax system where corporations and high earners pay more, promoting policies that raise wages, protect worker rights, and reduce costs for housing, childcare, and energy. Fantastic. Fantastic. Henry Mack says you can't fact check ideologies, moron. This guy doesn't understand that these are policies. I like it when a moron calls me a moron. That's yeah. When ignorant people call me ignorant, that is just I love it. I love it, and they hate it. Go fact check me, bah. Here, let me tell you, just on this first thing right here on the economy. Let's check this. Let's check. Oh boy, this is juicy. It is juicy. If you're not excited yet about being on the Dennis Herrera show, I don't know what else will get you excited. But you're gonna learn something today, because as a graduate, you guys, as you graduated from the Leering Center, I can break down the truth that you haven't learned shit in life. So let me educate you today. Here we go. One of their policies on the economy is advocates for a progressive tax system where corporations and high earners pay more. That is a policy. Here we go. What happens when you raise the price or taxes on corporations? Well, the consumer pays for it. You thought that by raising taxes on corporations, you will stick it to the man? Oh, man. That's not how it works. Oh. Guys, man, I will say this. I'm going to take a little pause to say, I have seen a growth in women on my channel that have been more common sense thinking like women. But better than that, better than common sense thinking women on my channel, they're strong women who can appreciate a real man and real women. There is a group of members. Now, I don't have a lot of members, but the ones that I do have, there are some that are very loyal, and they keep their word with their support, and I appreciate that. I'm going to say this. Without the members that I have on my channel, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I kid you not. because the members on my channel, not everybody, they know who they are. They text me. They send me inspirational text. Some send me scriptures. Some give me email links. Some people are giving me some great information that I haven't even thought about. And we have a dialogue. And we have a little conversation. And I see that. And so I wouldn't, this channel wouldn't be what it is. As little as it is, it doesn't matter. This channel wouldn't be at all if it wasn't for you members. You guys know who I'm talking about. That's why I called you my big bros and sisters, okay? Some are younger than me, I get it. But, you know, this is why I appreciate you guys. I'm going to tell you that right now, okay? I'm going to tell you that. You know, I have much love for every single one of them. And of you, if you're watching this. But I want you to know this. You don't have to earn my respect or my love. You automatically have it. 100%. You already have my love and respect. But it's up to you from the first interaction that you make with me of how much of that love and respect I keep for you. Many go from 100 all the way down to 0. And I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah, some are older, way older. But I really mean it. I wanted to take a pause to say that. Now, let's dive deeper into this, okay? So number one, I don't know why I'm doing here Economy 101. It's very common sense, basic information. I like how all the libtards just left. Watch this. If you charge more taxes, more regulations on billionaires, on millionaires, on corporations, on businesses, guess who pays for that? I like this question because, you know, a lot of the socialist Democrats or those rhinos or whoever the hell, however you identify, okay? However you identify. It's beyond me why, when President Trump puts a tariff on a country, you automatically say prices are higher because tariffs is a tax. I'm going to say it again. Libtards left. They have no argument with me. They have no facts. But I wish that they would just learn instead of being cowards. When you tax corporations, when you raise regulations, when you add fees, when the cost of business goes higher, the consumer pays the price. Now, I'm going to go to the second step. I want you to know that this is what the socialist Democrats, they fear-monger you and telling you that President Trump is guilty for Spirit Airlines, despite their horrible customer service and all the funny videos that we see of people fighting in the airline. You know, they want to portray Trump as this evil devil, right? But that's how the devil plays. See, the devil, he likes to play this handsome, innocent guy and tries to fear-monger you, the people, and myself, except they can't play with me. I am nobody's fool. Unfiltered, I'm nobody's bitch. Okay? There we go. So, tariffs are temporary. The war that we're fighting, that Iran started against us 47 years ago, we're trying to finish once and for all. Those are temporary burdens that we will, in long term, have a better economic standing in our country. Tariffs are temporary. The problem over there in the Middle East, that's also temporary. But the taxes that your local government and regulation puts on, those are permanent. And that should concern you. So why are you a hypocrite and tell me that Trump is guilty for the prices being high, for unaffordability? Man, there's so much to dissect. But I'm going to try to keep it simple, and maybe this is something that we can dissect another time. I got a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. You pay the price for any progressive taxes that are being put on businesses and billionaires. Don't celebrate. Don't be all happy. Stick it to the man. Stick it to the man. Tax him, tax him, tax him. Bitch, you are taxing yourself. You stupid sons of bitches on the socialist democratic side. You are taxing yourselves. Do you understand that? How can I not be pissed off at the ignorance of the people on the left? Here's another one. Socialist Democrats promoting policies that raise wages. This is fantastic. Let me tell you something. Do you think that raising wages, or minimum wage, to like $25 an hour, do you think, hey Lunchbox, do you think that that's smart? Anybody? Tell me, is raging, because there's a lot of genius economists on the left side that want to argue with me, and I always mop the floor with them, and they just call me a liar when when they don't want to agree with me, which is okay. All right, 70% of the people believe that there was something odd with us losing hundreds of billions of dollars and some businesses doing great while the economy was destroyed. Okay, well now we're doing better. Okay, so if you believe, okay, hold on, let me start a poll real quick. Here we go. Wait. What is the question that I want to ask you? Okay, here we go. Trying to keep it simple. Just trying to keep it simple, okay? If I misspell something, I don't care. You guys know what I'm asking, okay? Let's see. I'm going to give you the answer. How can I address this question? Let me see. I wish that I could take this one off, but we'll see. We'll see if this makes sense. Now, guys, if you're on my side here, think of a different way that I can ask this question. But I'm sure that I'm giving you the answer in the question. Okay. I just want to see who actually responds to this. And I if you don't understand why I put employees there, just ask. Okay. But if you know what I'm saying, we're good. Here you go. There's my poll. Now, as I explain this, of course, you guys can vote. But here's the thing. If they raise taxes and regulations on corporations and businesses, it affects us, the consumers. If they raise the minimum wage, it affects us, the consumer. Why do I say that? Well, here's the thing. Some corporations like Boeing, Microsoft, Amazon, right? Corporations like this, they don't care. They don't care about that. They already pay more than minimum wage. They're paying good money. They give benefits, good wages, allow for overtime. They compensate. Some get bonuses. Fantastic. It's fantastic. Now, you and I, there you go. But we have to say it, brother. We have to say it, David. Jason. We have to say it. It is so much easier, even though it's junk food and it might not be healthy for you. It is so much easier for me to go to work 8, 10 hours. I got 30-minute break. I gotta go. I gotta go to a drive-through. Pay $5 for a value meal. Fantastic. Now, because they raised the minimum wage, that value meal is up to $15. Listen, almost $20 for a meal. I kid you not. $18 I am paying for a combo. $18. Who did it affect? Me, the consumer. And how much money am I getting paid an hour? Well, now I'm wasting most of my pay for that hour for some junk food. So it affects the small businesses, mom and pop stores. They can't afford to pay a big wage. They got to have minimum wage. Restaurants, they can't stay in business. Charging $30 for a plate that we know should cost $10. It doesn't affect, it affects them to a point. It doesn't affect the big corporations. It affects the small businesses. You're putting businesses out of business. And think with logic. Use your common sense and stop thinking like a socialist Democrat. You are creating communists. That's what you're doing. You're creating communists. You don't get it. Protect workers' rights. Oh. And I think I have a clip that will show some of this. Protect workers' rights. Socialist Democrat mayor here in Seattle, Washington, decided that she was going to support and protect the workers' rights. And she says, for those businesses that are trying to leave, bye. Oh yeah, that's protecting the workers' rights. Telling corporations to get the hell out of Seattle. That's a great protection of the workers' rights. Reduce cost for housing. Let me see. Reduce the cost of housing. Sure they are. Let's raise property taxes. Yeah, let's raise property taxes because that is how we're going to make housing more affordable. Let's charge more fees and regulations on new constructions because that is going to help affordability. You have to listen to the stupidity of the left. You can't sit here today and defend this junk. There is no way that you will allow stupidity to rule your world. Child care, affordable child care. What does that mean, affordable child care? I can tell you, if I go to work full time for the man, I have to pay about $1,200 to $2,000 a month for child care. That is about half of my pay. That is like me still paying child support. 50% of my check. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You should be paying like $3 to $4 an hour for child care. But these private businesses for child care are making bank. It is no longer you and your wife getting a daycare. Now you got to hire employees so that you can get your lazy ass and stay home. And don't worry about it. There is enough middle class and rich people that will pay whatever you want. Whatever they want. Because we're stupid. And on top of that, the government helps people. The government helps people with free daycare. And they charge up to the yin-yang. Thus, you have a lot of fraud. Energy. Yes. They are lowering energy costs. Sure they are. Sure. Why is it that you can't afford to pay your damn electricity bill? You know what I'm saying? Healthcare. Healthcare is a right. Yeah, it's a human right, sure. It's a human right. I get it. Aiming to lower prescription drug costs. I'm going to have to go to a clip because I'm going to tell you something. I haven't heard one socialist Democrat come on here on my channel and say, Dennis, I want to acknowledge that President Trump has lowered the cost of drugs, prescription drugs. Maybe one. Maybe one. Now, I'm reading these policies because these are the Democratic policies. Aiming to lower shut the hell up. Oh, it pisses me off just even reading it. They haven't done shit. They haven't done shit. Protect pre-existing conditions and strengthen Medicaid and Medicare. For the environment, prioritizes tackling climate change by investing in clean energy, which, by the way, wind power is very bad for the land. Promoting environmental justice. What the hell does that even mean? And rejoining international climate agreements. What the hell does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but they haven't done shit. All they have done is take our money, take, Sonora, take it all the time. I don't know what, that just popped in my head. I don't know what the hell I'm saying there. Okay, but that's the problem. And then they don't care that we have the First Amendment. They don't care that we have the freedom of speech and religion. They only care when it's convenient for them. But they support the LGBTQ plus rights. Reproductive freedom. What the hell does that mean? Voting rights protections and criminal justice reform. What the hell does that mean? When people vote for Democrats, do you know what they mean? And what I mean by saying what the hell does that mean is because they have destroyed everything that they promised to fix. LGBTQ is destroying the Constitution. It's making our little boys gay. It's making our little girls confused. It's making our children hate themselves for who they are. They call sort of terrorist Christians. They call Christians terrorists. This is the Socialist Democrats here in Washington State. This son of a bitch, I'm glad that he's out of office, but I am so upset that somebody even more stupider than him, actually become a mayor of Seattle. So they protect the LGBTQ rights, but they don't protect the rights of the Christians. You can't do that. This is the United States of America, and the rights are for the people, American people, regardless of color, gender, race, etc., etc. But they don't practice what they preach, as they say. Immigration. They advocate for a fair immigration system, and yet they don't support controlling the border. What is it fair about allowing millions of illegal immigrants into this country, not respecting those migrants that came here legally who are waiting for their papers? Supporting legal immigration, right. Pathways and strengthening border security, right. Providing a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants. Did you catch that? Did you hear that? And of course, they say particularly those brought as children, the dreamers. Unfreaking believable. Woo! Man, please don't make me read the Democratic policies ever again. Please. And with that being said, thank you guys for taking the poll. 42 votes. What the hell? Nobody wants to vote. Interesting. So we have 33% of libtards on the chat that believe corporations and businesses are the ones that are affected. Now, I'm going to throw that in there with a little bit of salt. Okay? I know it's very bitter, but I'm going to give you a little bit of salt here. Maybe sugar, a little sugar. Because it's bitter, we're going to give you a little bit of sugar. I'm going to give you a little bit of sweetener. Okay? The only reason why it does affect corporations or businesses is because they have to make their product or services more expensive, which in terms means that people can't afford it. Now, it affects us customers and employees for why? It affects them employees because corporations are forced to lay off people. They're forced to fire people. They are forced to flee the state. Roberts, he's tired of the Democratic policies as well. He said I remind him of the worst marriage he's ever experienced in his life. Brother, you're still young enough. Come on. You still got another few years, man. Get married again. Enjoy at least 1 month with a wife that makes you happy, my friend. But you know what I'm saying? So employees get affected because companies will leave. Companies can't afford to have that many employees. So why would they hire more employees when the burden just becomes heavier? It stops businesses from growing. And the consumers, as I already mentioned, is when they raise taxes and regulations on business and corporations and rich people, millionaires, billionaires, whatever, that are providing hundreds of thousands of jobs. Well, now the smaller branches, the smaller franchisees, they can't afford it. So they have to raise the price so high and they lose business. And they got to go by making the bare minimum. So they lower their prices as low as they can. But I don't think it's fair. I don't think it should be that way. All right? Woo, man. Let's see. Let's go ahead and actually watch. I thought I had it ready. Hold on. Where did my video go? Did I close it? Doggone it. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. What the? Oh, that's gay, bro. That was gay. I don't know why I sang that. Dawson's Creek. Remember that? That's horrible. What the hell happened to my video? Man, I must have closed it in accident. But don't worry, guys. I will find it. Let's see. Videos. Here we go. Here we go. There you are. All right, we're back. We got it back. This is already the edited version. Oh, I think it's big. Yeah, never mind. Man, I forgot. We already watched the video. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, so now we can really get to our first video of the day, okay? Now, this is anti-ICE protesters mob hospital. Oh, sounds like our happy leftists losing it. Sorry, Rita, I got to say it. I had to say it.
A chaotic clash. Police arresting 9 anti-ICE protesters after they mobbed a New York City hospital Saturday night. But of course, Mayor Zoran Mamdani not missing a chance to go after The immigration agency saying in a statement, quote, "I've said time and time again, ICE raids are cruel and inhumane. They do nothing to serve the interests of public safety." Joining me now, former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, it gets worse. Those protesters, they were literally blocking emergency exits and entrances to a hospital. So imagine, grandma's having a heart attack and she can't get in because of the chaos you're seeing on screen. But wait, there's more. Governor Hochul and her fellow Democrats in the state assembly actually want to pass a new law that makes it harder than what you're seeing on the screen for ICE agents to do their job. What's going on?
What's going on?
I think with this, we are back to the tactics of subversion, right? Because you notice that the DHS shutdown ended, and now we're back to another one of these instances. And this person that these protesters, or quote unquote protesters, were trying to protect, he had a prior, I think, arrest or conviction for assault, a prior drug offense, and tried to run over the ICE agents, and this is a person that they're trying to protect. It's really shameful. Mondami's shameful. He has no right to set his own immigration law. And then you go to the Hochul, the new laws, which incidentally are unconstitutional, and I'd love it if somebody were to ask her how they would seek to enforce these laws limiting ICE in their state, because they are clearly a violation of the supremacy clause. But again, it's just performative politics over public safety that we've seen time and again. And unfortunately, the citizens of New York, and like you said, the people at that hospital there could have been some emergency. Somebody could have been harmed or killed because of their antics. It's so shameful.
Yeah, as we look at this video, continuing, imagine you are about to give birth. You're a mom who's about to give birth, and you drive into this. Imagine you're, just sick. Imagine your kid falls and they need to be rushed to the emergency room, and you see this. It is sad from so many perspectives, but also you mentioned something. Remember in January with all the anti-ICE protests, it's like they had their moment there. That moment went away and they need something new. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing what we're seeing on screen, Jonathan. It is sad. Speaking of also concerning and staying here in New York, there are some woke bills being bandied about in the state legislature that could spring New York's worst killers. We're talking about David Berkowitz, the son of Sam serial killer's the operative word there, and the John Lennon assassin, Mark David Chapman. Why does the left always focus on the comfort and freedom, Jonathan, of the killers, and they seem to ignore the plight of the victims and the overall safety of the public in general?
Yeah, they always put criminals first, criminals ahead of victims, criminals ahead of police, like we just saw in the last story, and they put the public safety as always secondary to this political agenda. And these bills are really scary if you think about it, because they could release people. They don't even look at their prior record. They just look if somebody at a parole board can decide they're no longer a threat to society. But really what makes these worse, not only these criminals like Son of Sam, who killed, I believe, 6 people, could be released, but what does that say to other criminals in terms of deterrence, that New York City puts criminals first, doesn't take public safety or law enforcement seriously? So there's a deterrent aspect, not just for murders, but all crimes altogether. Because, I was a prosecutor in Virginia for many years, and criminals wouldn't want to sell drugs in Virginia. That were selling them in D.C. and Maryland because they knew Virginia had the death penalty, meaning not that they would get the death penalty, but because they were concerned Virginia was tough on crime and they didn't want to tangle with it. So this is bad for New York. It's a disgrace. It's an insult to the victims. The whole thing is horrible. But New York is just, woke, dominates everything.
And they call it the elder parole bill, but the age that they evaluate you as elder is 55. It's not like it's 85 or 95, when in all likelihood you would have more difficulty committing another crime. At 55, you can commit the same crimes, including serial killing, that you did when you were in your 20s. This makes no sense, but this is the state we live in now. Jonathan Fahey, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for
all the latest clips and news. Well, there you go. That's just a little quick message viewed of the tolerant left. This is what I say. They want their rights respected, but they forget that we have those same rights, and they want to call us liars. They want to call us evil, but they're the ones constantly. Like, you can't even tell me that it's the same on the right as it is on the left, because everybody just says January 6th. That's all they got. That is all they got. And that's the problem. The problem is, here, Mr. Penguin, it's that when I am dropping facts, you're watching it yourself and you still deny it. We can't stand that shit. That is just blatant ignorance. And you do that on purpose. Like, you don't come to have a conversation. You come here to troll. I wish you had some good points to give us, but you don't have shit. And everything that I give you is truth. That's why you get banned. That's why you get kicked. You come over here and start throwing insults to three reasons. Number one, you don't insult my president. Number two, you don't insult anybody on my chat. And number three, you definitely don't want to insult me, because I will ban you for life. And don't think that you coming in here with some fake profiles is going to get you by, because the way you talk is still the same way. It's so recognizable. It is crazy. It's unbelievable. Ilhan Omar nears deadline for document handover in fraud case. Well, let's go. Let's get some from News Nation. You know what News Nation is. I don't really trust it, but listen, we have to listen to different sources. Yeah, Magic Man. Penguin has plenty of different names. There's a lot of people that get banned and they use their alter profiles, but the same shit comes out of the comments. Like, I wish they will play it off and, just get some brains and do something different. But they just do the same thing. You got to say it like it is, my friend. All right, what do we got here? Ilhan Omar nears a deadline for documents on fraud case. Let's take a listen.
Lawmakers are asking Congresswoman Ilhan Omar to respond by Tuesday regarding questions about a statewide child nutrition fraud scheme. The lawmakers are seeking Omar's written and electronic communications involving the state's Feeding Our Future program, which misused millions of dollars in taxpayer funds. State lawmakers specifically hoping to look at Omar's correspondence with the owners of the Safari restaurant. State lawmakers point out Omar was a regular at that restaurant, staging many campaign events there. Its owners recently pleaded guilty for their role in the $250 million fraud scheme. Now, Omar's team and allies have largely framed allegations trying to link her to fraud as politically motivated and not substantiated. But for more on this, we are joined by Minnesota State Representative Kristen Robbins tonight. She is the chair of the Minnesota House.
I want to point out, let me get the closed captions on. I want to point out that the Socialist Democrats have been telling us we are liars, liars, liars. Every single day they come in to tell me that I am lying, that I'm a liar, this and that. And let me tell you something that I don't do. You guys know that sometimes I open up my phone lines to allow people to give me their intake and their input and all this other stuff. They always prove my point that they just don't want to listen to reasoning. They don't want to know the truth. They want to believe a lie. As long as they hate Trump, they're happy. But the one thing you will notice from all this hating Trump or just godless, lawless people, they all spew the same rhetoric. They always tell you lies, as in what we just read, the Democratic policies. None of the policies that they have are actually good for us at all. It sounds somewhat good on paper, but it's horrible. It's like when you think of a joke in your head and you're like, oh my God, this is so funny. And then you say it and it's like, what the hell was that? That's the problem. I know, sometimes I think a joke that I say might be funny, but it might not be. And I don't think about it until I actually say it out loud. And it's like, oh shit, that was not funny at all. But it is what it is. But I want you to know that the Socialist Democrats, they all have the same mentality. they're retarded. I'm sorry, guys. They're just ignorant. Even if you don't like it. Listen, again, but don't worry. There is always a chance. You can always stop being a libtard. Now, some people like this H1T guy, this libtard, this big fat dude who has probably grown some man titties and now pretends that he is a woman. The ugliest woman probably on earth. Let me tell you something. When Democrats can't convince you that a man can get pregnant, this is what they do. They put hormones on their female body, and they grow to be very, very freaking ugly. They just the ugliest women on earth. They pretend to be men and now are pregnant. That is the logic of the leftist. They believe that one way that they can prove that a man can have a baby is to call a female a man. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard about this argument. And the socialist stupid enablers, the libtards, those of you who have been one time been conservative and believe in God, now that your son is ignorant and has become stupid, you support him believing that he's a woman. Yeah, you are guilty of that stupidity. So we got to keep saying it. We got to keep saying it. Let's see. So Burner Penguin says, I didn't disrespect anyone, just trying to talk and getting banned when they decide they're done. Okay, this guy doesn't know this is my channel. Don't misrepresent me. I have great points, but your mutts are crybabies who can't have a debate. Spewing lies and stupidity is not a debate. I don't think you understand that. So I'm following 3 rules. So stop banning me when I'm following your rules. If I have to say it, that means that you're not following my rules. So coming over here and saying that I'm lying, well, that is part of the problem. That is part of the problem. When you come in here calling me a liar, but I'm showing you facts and I'm giving you all these things here, listen, if you missed the beginning of my show, go start the live from the beginning. And then go ahead and then make your observations. But if you don't come in here and watch my live from beginning to end, shut the hell up, because I'm not going to be repeating the same things that I just said when I started my video. All right, capiche? If you say anything stupid, anything that I don't like on the chat, I will ban you. It's that simple. Okay? Yeah, there you go. My man. It's on the landscape mode. He's going to be regulating over there. Rudy Lama says, okay, thank you, brother. Okay, Burner. So here we go. Now we got two guys in here. All right, man, I'll leave it up to you. You can ban them, whatever you want to do with them. Let's take a listen to this.
Fraud Prevention and State Oversight Committee, also a candidate for Minnesota governor. Appreciate you being here today and sharing your perspective. And I know we're fast approaching this Tuesday request for Congresswoman Omar here. If she doesn't respond by this deadline, what is your committee's move on Wednesday morning?
You know, we hope she will respond. She certainly owes it to Minnesota taxpayers and families to respond to our questions. And so I'm still hoping, but if not, the committee will examine all our options and we will continue to press for it, because she created the program, the Meals Act, that took the guardrails off the school nutrition program, that created the conditions for all this fraud. And she should come and answer our questions.
Will you try to subpoena her?
So we will look at all the options. We'll see what happens next week in committee.
Assuming that she doesn't respond, and I'm not sure that she would. I mean, given she's a member of Congress, it doesn't seem that the committee has actual authority to get her to show up. Let's assume she does not respond. Will the committee be pursuing a subpoena on Wednesday?
So we are looking at all the options. As you may know, we don't have the full subpoena power. at the committee at this time because of the makeup of the House being tied, but we will certainly look at all our options. And we will also continue to work with our federal partners who do have subpoena power. So this is far from over, and we will keep looking at all options available to us.
Have you seen any direct evidence linking Congresswoman Omar to any wrongdoing?
Well, the court exhibits from Feeding Our Future show in the exhibit list different communications between her office and some of her staffers and Feeding Our Future defendants. And that is the information we're trying to get. What were they communicating about? Did they tell them that they'd taken the guardrails off the program? Did they encourage them to get involved as one of the sites? Safari Restaurant was one of the sites that, as you noted, has been charged and convictions have been brought against them, but they were the largest single site in the Feeding Our Future case. So we definitely want to understand what her office was communicating, and I think that should be made available to the public.
Her team and Democrats have said that these allegations are politically motivated. Tell me more about that. Is this about fact-finding, or is this about putting political pressure on a high-profile Democrat?
This is about getting the truth. That's what we want. We want the truth. For far too long in Minnesota, people were afraid to tell the truth about the fraud problem. And when they did, they were retaliated against. And we have said that will no longer stand. We are going to tell the truth. We are going to follow the facts and the law, and then we will see what happens. But we have a duty to the taxpayers and to the needy Minnesotans who need these services to find the facts and get the truth.
We mentioned the FBI raid over those 20 locations in Minneapolis this week, including many daycare centers. Was your committee briefed by federal authorities before those raids took place, or were you watching them unfold on the news like everyone else?
No, we watch it on the news and like everyone else. I have a great relationship with our federal partners, and we certainly share information with them as we get it because we want them to have all information for their investigations. But once they start looking at something, we find out just like everybody else.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
Shut up, Cuomo. Nobody cares about you. Just everybody else on the network. Cuomo's still a dumbass. Let's see. This is a little off topic, but did you know when the government shut down, the national park shut down too? Yes. My friends and I wanted to do a night walk and learn that this weekend. That is correct. National parks are is part of the government. So, unfortunately, it is true. But I mean, there's other places that are open. It's not just everywhere. There's some less regulated parks that anybody can walk into. And I mean, to be honest, let's be honest. Nobody gives a shit if the parks get shut down by the government. I feel here. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying, okay? Because as a guy that loves nature. Don't get me. I love the trails. I love almost dying going up the mountain. You know, all these beautiful, painful things that I have to go through when I go on a hike. I love all that. And I don't need nobody. We don't need anybody to be there. We don't care. We just want a trail that we can walk on. They don't protect you from cougars. They don't protect you from bears. They don't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I also believe, oh, by the way, and anybody should be able to go to these trails, regardless. Charging for parking, okay, sure, whatever. Even that, I don't believe that they should do. Okay, it's not a freaking theme park. It is something that our tax dollars actually maintain. Now, with that being said, I also believe that it's nice to have park rangers who actually walk these trails or drive or whatever and actually make sure that the trails are safe and all this other stuff. That's fantastic. I also believe that. So if the government shuts down, I don't believe the parks should be shut down because they're not going to do shit for us. I think that maybe the only one reason I think that they probably shut down the hikes. It's maybe if an emergency happened, you know. I mean, maybe that's the reason. But I'm going to tell you, even then, what are they going to do? Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't see a reason to shut down the parks. I think we should be able to go in there at our own risk, so to speak. You know what I mean? All right. With that being said, we have explosive raids. You guys already know this, but we got to continue to expose the truth. This is more fraud numbers revealed. This is from Fox Business News.
The White House is holding fraudsters accountable in Minnesota. Brian's thrilled. The FBI raiding more than 20 businesses as part of an investigation into social services fraud. And a surprising reaction from Tim Walz on X, the governor coming out in support of the raid and even claiming credit for it. This is after Walz allowed fraud to run rampant across Minnesota under his watch.
This is like the arsonist trying to claim credit for the work of the fire department, because Tim Walz let this fraud happen under his watch. Whether he was complicit in it directly himself or just turned a blind eye towards it, we really did not get much help at all from the governor's office.
All right, Larry, I love it. Keep going for it, because that helps the spending side of the thing. So we cannot focus on the revenue and all these new taxes, focus on the spending if we want to get serious about balancing our budget.
Yes, and I think the GOP, and I've said this, I've been campaigning for a much different budget bill. I don't want a skinny reconciliation bill. I want a big fat one like we had last year that would include all this waste, fraud, and abuse, which is a matter of public record. All right. And if Governor Walz wants to play, fine. But it's a bit late. But the point is, there's a couple of $100 billion at least, okay? That's what the GAO is now putting out.
Yeah.
Most of it is coming, unfortunately, from Medicare and Medicaid, but not all of it. Look, the GAO a couple years ago said it could have been $500 billion. When I interviewed Elon Musk over a year ago, he was using GAO numbers over $500 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse. $500 billion, mind you. That's a lot. And if you look at that over 10 years, which is how these budgets are constructed, you could save a fortune. I mean, you could lower marginal tax rates. You could cut back on federal spending and deficits and all borrowing and all this stuff. Why they won't do it? It's odd to me that they're not talking it up, because it's very popular.
Dagan's our Medicaid queen, and it's because the more people you have on the government rolls, the more power that you get, because then they are dependent on you. And that's what the liberals want.
Medicaid is a liability with no ceiling, because the more the states spend, the more the federal government has to cough up, right? And all the representatives, left, right, and center, know that.
But even, okay, that is true. And you could try to change the formula, but that's very difficult to do.
I know.
I'm just saying, just the sheer fraud of it.
I know.
Is where they should be focusing.
Yeah.
And they're missing a tremendous opportunity. I mean, the public wants to, what's the word, clean the swamp?
Yes, drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp. Why aren't they draining the swamp writ large? This is supposed to be a conservative issue for
This is why Patrick Henry was an anti-federalist at the Constitutional Ratifying Convention. I'm serious. He knew that concentrated power at the federal level would be abused.
I just think that it's unpopular to a certain degree with a certain segment of this population. And what ends up happening is the Republicans take on all the tasks that are hard. Look at what the president's doing with the war. No other president had the you-know-what to be able to step up and handle Iran. And so I think I agree with you that a lot of Republicans want to see the swamp drained and this fraud and waste cut, because when you think about the spending side, it's like they're always asking us for more money. And you're like, but there's all this fraud, waste, and abuse. How could you possibly be asking me for more? But then it becomes like, well, they're going after this one and they're prosecuting that one and they're weaponizing and they're, then you start going down that road. And I think that they worry less, Taylor, the Republicans, about power because of the way the system is, but more about their popularity as it is. I just feel like Republican messaging is never exactly where it needs to be.
We gotta go because we have a Fed meeting coming.
Gotta go. Uh-oh.
Lucy.
Let me see. When is this from? Give me a second. We'll go ahead and hold off that. All right. So despicable Dems are slammed for dehumanizing rhetoric amid violent concerns. Well, that is the theme of the socialist Democrats. And I think by now I have made a point and have proven every point that the new Democratic Party are just a bunch of Marxist, communist, socialists. It's still here. I still don't get how some people just. We're going to be smoking this on my members only, by the way. Yeah. I still don't get why these people don't want to, like, listen. Why don't you want to listen? Why don't you want to know the truth? What is it that I want you to write it on the chat. If there is any person that still supports Democrats today, I want you to write on the chat. Why do you still support Democrats? And listen, if you cannot say Trump, but if you mention President Trump, I want you to explain to me why Trump and why Democrats. Okay? Because we read the policies. Think about this. We read the policies. Republicans we are for border security, Americans first, no men and women sports, lowering taxes, tax cuts, and deregulation. We are for drilling, baby drilling. Of course, added refineries and fertilizers created here in the United States of America. Democrats, they say they want a secure border, but they leave it open. They say they want to help affordability, but they just tax and tax and tax. They say they want to do a fight for health care for illegal immigrants. They say they want the affordable health care to stay in place, which doesn't help us, but it gives billionaires billions of dollars. They say they want to fight to lower price on drugs, but they haven't done it, and it's been decades. So they want to have fake men to pretend to be women, and they don't care that women are paying the price for it. There you go. They complain about tariffs that are temporary, but they praise local taxes that are permanent. They complain about the United States military and its capabilities, and they praise Iran's terrorist regime. They hate Christians, and they praise Muslims. You see this? Left, right, good, bad. It's all the same. And every single socialist Democrat that claims to be the party of the peaceful are the most destructive and hateful people. It's okay, Jason. He didn't understand what I said. State taxes, you idiot. He doesn't understand what I said, but it's okay. It's the lip-turn mentality. This is how they got their diploma in the Leering Center. when they come to an actual channel that talks the truth, that uses critical thinking, analytical thinking, and uses common sense to make decisions in life and in politics, they just don't get it. It's like a whole new world. It's like being in Mars. I don't know. These guys just don't get it. But anyway, here we go. Let's let some of these pros give us some more facts about what's going on. Texas Jane in the house. How are you, Miss Jane? All right. They're humanizing. This is what the Democrats do. They dehumanize. Let's take a listen.
You know the old saying, words have consequences. Well, there are a lot of folks now who are taking a bit of a pause and reflecting after the...
My bad. That was my fault. My fault.
The latest assassination attempt on President Trump, and many of them are blaming rhetoric, especially from the left, for where we are now.
We are in an era of maximum warfare.
No. Maximum warfare. Jason, I know. They've been asking for Civil War 11. I mean, Civil War 2. They've been asking for it. Listen, I had a black conservative man called us this last week. Remember? I had to tell him to be patient and allow God to work, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's sick of them. He is sick of this rhetoric. As Fox says, that they're dehumanizing. Democrats, they just don't stop. They never learn. You know why? Because all they do is leer from the Leering Center. This guy, Tampon Tim, has been hiding fraud. Ilhan Omar, hiding fraud. Gavin Newsom, hiding fraud. The government here in Washington State, hiding fraud. Oregon, hiding fraud. New York, hiding fraud. Oh, my gosh. Listen, let's be real. Even Florida has had scams. But you know what? They are holding them accountable for. These morons on the left, not one of them said, thank you, Shirley. Thank you, Nick. Not one of them. They call him an extremist, right-wing, conservative YouTuber. And they call him a liar, as they do to us. Liar. He's lying. Racist. Racist. Man. Listen. Now, I want you to listen careful. If you are black, if you are black, but only if you support the Democratic Party, you are one ignorant fool. I sent you a Gmail with already known maximum warfare. Thank you, Cutting Edge. Cutting Edge is going broke supporting my channel. I feel you, brother. Listen, only if you support Democrats, this will land on you. But again, disclaimer, there's good news. You don't have to stay there. But if you're a black person and you support Democrats, you are an ignorant. You can use the other word if you want, same meaning. You are ignorant and very low IQ. With that being said, the good news is you don't have to stay there and you can change. And the best of it is nobody in here knows who you are. So you can come in fresh into our channel and just say, God bless the USA. Let's go. Vote Republicans in the midterms. By the way, I think we gained 4 seats. Oh man! All right, I had to make a joke before we continue this insults and this dehumanizing by the Democrats. So I'm going to go ahead and go back 10 seconds.
Maximum warfare.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
That man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption. But I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace.
We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Well, columnists have been taking notice as well. Bernard Goldberg's op-ed in The Hill this week, titled "Not Rocket Science, Extreme Political Rhetoric Eventually Has Consequences." And Jonathan Albert wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. It was titled "When Rationalization Turns Deadly." And he had a very interesting take. In part, it read this way: when people are described as fundamentally dangerous or illegitimate, it changes how actions against them are seen. Now, for most people, that language remains just mere language. But for someone unstable, hearing it often enough can lower the psychological barrier to acting. It can begin to feel less like a choice and more of kind of like an obligation. Very powerful words right there. We want to bring in Fox News contributor and political analyst Gianno Caldwell. I thought what he had to say right there was incredibly powerful.
Here we go, guys. A couple of Uncle Toms right here. Since you can't call them racist, pay attention.
Gianno, and there's even more. I know that your opinion on this is also very, very strong, and I just want to share this. I think there are a lot of people who feel like free speech trumps everything. But then there's free speech, but then there's also dangerous speech. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. And I think sometimes it's getting a little over the line. What do you think?
Well, I think it's approached beyond just a little. This has become extreme. And Kevin, you and I were just texting last week while I was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, thinking you were going to be there and you were, hosting, of course. But I recall that day very clearly. I was about 30 or 40 some feet from where the shooting took place. I could see the gunpowder and I heard the shots. And that was a moment where you had no idea what was going on. Some of those videos have gained millions of views. You can check them out at Gianno Caldwell on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. But I'll tell you, this has had great impact. And what we've seen, the comments that you just played, the collage of comments, people like Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, the language that has been used over the course of years is absolutely despicable by him and many of his Democratic peers, because these words do have consequences. And it's no longer a scenario in place where it's a loner, someone who's been cast out from society, who's taking a moment to try to gain some credibility on the left by trying to attack Trump or anyone conservative. This isn't that. This was an educated individual with degrees who taught, etc. So we know that this far-reaching left-leaning language that is absolutely dangerous to public safety is something that's creeped up into mainstream society, and it's extraordinarily dangerous for many of us that are on the right, conservatives.
Let me share this. This is Larry Lang, cover photo. A lot of outrage in California. Again, if you're talking 86-47, some people will interpret that as, again, meaning that they want to do something to harm the president. This is a vice mayor posting this apparent threat aimed at President Trump. Let me push back for just a second, though, my friend. I just want to ask the question for clarity, because people will say to me, yeah, but you've heard President Trump call groups this or that or the other. What do you say to those people when they make that comparison?
Well, oftentimes President Trump uses particular language when he's attacked. These groups have made a number of claims against him, but not one time do I recall him saying something to hurt individuals, to attack individuals. I've never heard that language used by him, but we can count on many people who've used that kind of language. You think about people like Maxine Waters that says if you see any Trump officials, you get around, you make a crowd, you push back on them, and you tell them that they are not welcome here. When have you heard President Trump say that? He hasn't, to my knowledge, said anything like that or something that can be construed in that form. But these Democrats, despite the fact that there's been multiple assassination attempts on President Trump, have not turned down the temperature. In fact, we've seen recent polling that showed that 25% of folks on the left believe that violence is okay and permissible in certain situations compared to 3% of people on the right.
That's right.
You know, there's clearly an issue on the left, 100%. And I would tell you, for those on the left who think otherwise, just look at the data. Look at what the history shows. Steve Scalise is another witness of that. And he's not somebody that people consider to be a far-right Republican. He's just a Republican. But this is where we are right now in our country, and it is a problem that must be fixed.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think it's high time that Democrats make the honest assessment that if people in their party are sort of going the extra mile to dehumanize people, this could be very, very dangerous for the country. Let me share this. There's a real surge. You and I have talked about socialism as it relates to the Democratic Party. There's sort of a socialism communism nexus here. Let me share this. Is from David Marcus. Rise of Marxism is a hydra Democrats created but can't control. He says the reason that so many normal Americans are nonplussed by the increasingly unhinged rhetoric and tattoos of the radical left politicians and podcasters is that Democrats can always insist that this is merely the fringe, but it's not true anymore. Marxism has become the Democrats' whole magic carpet. Well, that's one heck of an op-ed.
I've been saying it. The new Democratic Party, I'm telling you, if you are a real Democrat, you don't want to support Democrats right now. They are communist, Marxist, socialists. This is why they start calling themselves socialist Democrats, because it sounds good. Socialism sounds like a great thing, but it's not. And you know this because of history. You know this because of how the economy just drops like crazy. Money runs out faster than you can say what money. You got to listen. You got to pay attention. I'm telling you. I am just telling you the truth. Okay? I cannot force you to believe it. You have to choose it yourself. Okay, like Morpheus said, I'm just trying to free your mind.
Especially as we consider the midterms are just ahead. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I absolutely agree. And someone else who's on the left agrees too. Senator Fetterman, who's often talked about where his party has become. And it's such a problem. We see it in New York City. We saw Mondani recently get elected, and now New Yorkers are saying maybe this is the city is on the wrong track in the majority. Yeah. We can see this throughout the entire Democratic Party, where things are going. They have absolutely capitulated to socialism, communism, Marxism. And then you also keep in mind, there's a lot of billionaires that are funding this stuff, George Soros and alike. That's why I started the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety to go after those prosecutors and George Soros candidates that they're pushing this leftist regime, which impacts us in a very negative way, especially when it comes to crime. Go to CaldwellInstitute.org and please support our efforts there. But this is a fight that our country must take on. I think President Trump is doing a great job at that, and we got to continue to expose this stuff wherever it rears its ugly head.
Communism and Marxism, by any other name, is exactly what it is. Real quick, I got to play this. This is the mayor up in Seattle who says, if you're rich and you want to bounce, hit the bricks. Listen.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown. And if, the ones that leave, like, bye.
That is the wisest socialist Democrat that just became mayor in Seattle. I'm going to tell you something. I wish that I would have thought about this before. I will say this. Everything is due in God's timing. In God's time. Because if I would have ran against her and the other moron who was also a mayor, I would have beat both of them. I would have beat both of them. So I have a thing that I have to reconsider. And because I already missed my deadline, I guess, I already missed the date. I feel like I'm still going to put my name on the ballot for governor, but this is in 2028. It's not open for me to put my name on the ballot today. This doesn't matter. But I will tell you this. After everything that we have seen, I thank God for the wisdom and for the things that he is doing in our life today. And I don't mean like lives. Your life and my life. And I feel that we are going to have a great chance. A great chance. We're going to fight. Fight. We're going to fight. And how many of you guys have watched Fallout? I used to play the game. Now, you guys know I'm a big gamer and I haven't played like I used to, but I watched Fallout, the episode, the series on Prime. And there is a scene of a, what is she? She's a congresswoman. I'm not going to, give you the end of the show, but she's a congresswoman and she's trying to make a speech. And she says this, many of you, and this is my own words. I'm not going to say it word by word, but this is what she says. Many of you probably don't know who I am because only those who have money, only the politicians who can spend millions of dollars campaigning and making videos are known. So you don't know me, but I am Congresswoman, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to tell you, that's exactly how we're going to play it. The difference is we are gathering. We got 2 years. 2 years, Patriots. Even if they bring our viewers down, listen, just like President Donald Trump said, make it too big to rig. I'm going to tell you, support this channel too big to slow down, too big to cap. Support the channel. Listen, we got 2 years to gather all the patriots that we can. And even if you don't live in Washington State, we need your support in many, many different ways. And we are going to make our own advertising. I don't know how much money we're going to raise. I don't know. But I can tell you I have enough equipment. All you need is a phone, to be honest. All you need is a phone. I have enough equipment to make my own videos, to campaign for myself. And all I'm going to do is share it with you guys. It doesn't matter who shows up or who doesn't. We will need a team of bodyguards because they're not going to let me have peace if we're campaigning out in public. But I can tell you this. If there's something that I learned from COVID-19 is that we need to learn to adapt. And one of the reasons why I didn't get to run for office this year is because it's God's plan to allow us to grow and to learn and to become very, very familiar with the issues that we are struggling with today. With that being said, I plan to do a nice campaign against the tyrants who blame Trump for everything and don't have any accountability for the incompetence that they have in their government. And that's right. We are going to go ahead and fight. This Washington State if God allows me to be in office as governor, from day one, we are going to sign an executive order to get rid of sanctuary cities here in Washington State. Number one, we'll see what happens. But that is on the agenda. You will have my agenda plain and clear. There's no hiding. We will do as much press conferences as we can. We will try to be as transparent as we can. If I have learned something good, it's been watching President Donald Trump. So it will be God's will, but I just want to give you the heads up. We need to gather more patriots, and we need to be here talking over and over and over about the issues, because the leftists don't stop talking about their lies over and over and over and over. They don't stop. We don't stop. I thought I told you that. We don't stop. I thought I told you that. We don't stop. That was corny. Ignore that last part.
She says bye, 30 seconds. That may resonate.
When it's someone else's money,
yeah,
they don't care.
Leave, like, bye.
She says bye, 30 seconds. That may resonate.
When it's someone else's money,
yeah,
they don't care. But the truth of the matter is, like California and many other places, New York, that are seeing billionaires and millionaires leave in droves because they can afford to leave, is going to cause a great impact on the taxpayers there, especially those who are in the middle class and lower ranges. They're going to have to pay more because the people at the top are leaving. And this is what socialist Democrats do. Until they run out of other people's money, the rhetoric continues.
You nailed it, because they have the capability of leaving if they want to leave. But those of us who don't have that kind of money, aren't as mobile, don't have the kind of cash to just hat up and go to another state, they're often stuck right where the policies are, and that's the unfortunate truth. Gianna Caldwell, great to see you, my friend.
Kevin, real quick, I've seen your cars, so I know you're not one of those people. You can leave.
Hey, from the projects to the presidency, what can I tell you? Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time today. Have a great weekend.
It's not over until it's over. I'm going to tell you something. Oh, I've said this before. It's not over until it's over. It is biblical. Now, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to be religious. But let me tell you something. And a lot of people, if you support Palestinian Hamas and terrorist Iran, okay, whatever. I support Israel. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why God chose Israel. God chose Israel because they're not perfect. Let's not forget the Jews are the ones that crucified Jesus Christ, their Savior. If they don't receive Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, sorry, Ben Shapiro, you're going downstairs. Hopefully not. You are still a descendant of Abraham. But the Bible is very clear. Jesus Christ is the only way, the only truth, and is the only life. Life. I have an accent, sorry. But God chose Israel because they are imperfect. They're a very small nation. They're not strong. And he did that to show how mighty he is to other fake religions who claim their gods are almighty. None of them have been able to defeat Israel. And that's only because God is watching and protecting and fighting for them. Now, there will be a time when Israel will be hit so hard, they will almost be destroyed, but not yet. In the same manner, if God chooses me to run for governor here in Washington State, it's not because I have all this wealth and I am going to heal the land and I'm going to do this and do that. It's because God chooses me to do that. Because I'm imperfect. Because I'm weak. Because I'm not the smartest guy. Because I'm not a politician. But the success of me running for office and becoming governor, if it's God's will, and becoming governor of Washington State, regardless of how the economy is going right now in our country. I hope you're listening. Regardless of how the economy is looking, specifically here in Washington State, regardless, I want you to know something. God's power and might is going to be involved. You heard it today on the Dennis Herrera Show, and you will be witness of God's might. And everything that these socialist Democrats, these people who don't believe in God, the people that are pushing Marxism, communism, socialism into your lives. Washington State is not finished. And we've seen all these corporations and businesses leaving. But that's going to just be something to be more amazed on God's might. Watch how God restores Washington State. Watch how God will punish those who incline to do evil. This will be a blessed, prosperous, just state of Washington State. Farmers, God's going to bless you. Police officers, God's going to bless you for your sacrifice. We will help the poor, but we will not enable poverty. We will help those who need help, but we will not enable laziness. To God be all the glory and the power. God bless you. God bless the USA. I will see you guys on the next one.